Hello, everyone, and welcome back. We have a new roadmap update to go over today. We have some updates on new things coming in 4.3.1, a couple of interesting changes that I had no idea was coming. We're going to take a look at those updates today. And then we're going to talk about the RSI Apollo triage and medevac. We have some new information about that, some new inferences from some images included in the roadmap that seem to indicate that the Apollo has likely gotten a size increase. So we're going to talk about that, talk about some of the other things that we have noticed that have changed, and go over everything else that there is to talk about with this roadmap update. So if you want to see what's going on with some of the latest changes and updates that will be coming to the game in the near future, then sit back, relax, and let's get into it. All right, so first we're going to go through the roadmap roundup updates. We're going to talk about that for a minute. There's a few interesting things here, and then we're going to talk about the Apollo. So for the 4.3.1 updates, we have a couple of new cards that have been added. So first we have the RSI Apollo Triage and the RSI Apollo Medevac. So the difference between those, again, if you're not familiar with them, the Triage is more of kind of the civilian-focused version of the Apollo, and the Medevac is more military-focused. It has superior armor and increased missile racks, so it can be more in a combat scenario if need be, and be able to hold its own. So we have those additions that'll be coming in the next patch. And then a surprising one is the bearing laser cannon art refactors, updating the bearing laser cannon art style and geometry. So there is an image for this that they included in the roadmap. I'll throw it up on the screen for you here. I personally I didn't have any problem with how the M series cannons looked. I like the look of these. It seems like there's a little bit more artistic differentiation in the styling between the different sizes. I assume that top one's going to be probably sizes 1 to maybe 3. Then that middle one probably would be 4 and 5, I would guess. And then the bottom one is probably going to be your size 6 and like size 7 that you see on like the Idris M. It might be slightly different than that, but we'll have to see. I really like the look of them though. There's a lot more detailing on them. I like how the barrel kind of gets a more chunky and stuff. You know, there's a lot of energy going through those cannons on especially the bigger sizes. So it makes sense that they have that additional additional structure there. So they look really cool. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Do you think are they going to be doing more refactors for other weapons? Maybe getting it ready for like ballistic weapons, making it so that they have those, like they talked about previously, detachable magazines that you can reload. I don't know. Let me know what you think about this down in the comments. Next on the roadmap, we have additions for the Onyx facilities coming in 4.3.1. So update 4.3.1 expands the Onyx facilities with the addition of the Science Wing. Arkin Malor invites players back to the network of abandoned research sites scattered across the Stanton system, hidden on nearly every moon. Though light security still lingers, the facilities have long since been abandoned by Associated Science and Development. At their deepest point lies Dr. Jorit's lab, where the darkest revelations await. So again, this is the third wing for the Onyx facilities. I'm sure there's going to be some additional missions and content, maybe some puzzles to solve in there, and some additional discoveries that we'll find for the Regen Crisis kind of storyline with the Dr. Jorit guy and all that sort of stuff. So I'm excited to see how that looks, what kind of cool stuff we find there. I'm sure it'll be very, very interesting. I'm sure it'll follow the same kind of styling as the rest of the facility. So it'll be really, really cool atmospherics and probably a cool place to explore. And then the last two cards to note on this week's roadmap is the return of AI FPS turrets. I think this was on there previously, and then they removed it for a bit. Now it's back. Adding the anti-personnel turrets for players to avoid or destroy, providing additional PvE challenges. I wouldn't be surprised if those are in the science wing of the Onyx facilities. I wouldn't be surprised if they're added to some other places as well. So we'll have to see, but I'm looking forward to seeing what they look like and how they act and how difficult they are to take out. And then our last card is also another return of mission pickup on location, enabling new missions to be discovered and added to journals when you approach or enter a designated area. That'll be fun. I'm sure it'll help. I guess it could help reduce a little bit of maybe that clutter in the Moby-Glass in terms of contracts. And there's probably some additional contracts that they'll add that aren't there at the moment. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm sure I really hope one thing that this could be used for is accepting Wicklow missions. Like you just go to the Wicklow station and you walk up to like the out in the hangar area, the banner that says like this is the favor mission or whatever, and you can just click it there or something to accept it. Because I've had an issue where I have not got the MG script turn in mission for favors to refresh like for over a week now. And it's very, very annoying because I would really like to turn my script into favors and get a Super Hornet from Wicklow, but I can't right now. So if they can fix that, that'd be really nice. But we'll have to see. So that was all in regards to the roadmap updates. So now let's talk about the changes for the RSI Apollo. So in the roadmap update, there was some pictures that were included of the Apollo, the triage and the medevac. You should be seeing those on screen here. Someone was able to go in, and it appears that these ships are in a large hangar and not a medium hangar. So what they were able to do is extrapolate from some of the markings on the ground and whatnot the size of the ship, and it seems as though the RSI Apollo has had a pretty decent size increase. So according to what information has been found, comparing the markings on the hangar to the ship, it appears that the Apollo has increased to be approximately 66 meters long and 42 meters wide, and then the height has probably gone up similar relative amounts, about 1.5 times, so should be about 13 and a half meters tall. If I remember correctly, the Apollo was in the 40-meter long range. It was much closer in size to the RSI Zeus series. But now if this size increase is indeed the case, that means that this has grown quite a lot more in line to be similar in size to the Constellation, like right in between the Connie Andromeda and the Connie Taurus. So it's quite a bit bigger. So that's definitely going to bring up some questions as to if they've changed the layout, if they added some additional rooms, what have they added and whatnot. Now, a couple of other interesting things to note is it appears there have also been the addition of pilot weapons to the Apollo, which I don't believe it had previously. You might be able to see very slightly under the cockpit area, there appears to be a Rhino kind of peeking its way out from under there. And I believe there's another one you can see. It's kind of hard to see there, but it looks like there have been two size 4 pilot weapons that have been added. So you have those two size 4s, and then on top of the ship there is an additional remote turret that has two size 3s. So an okay armament. That's unless there's another turret on the bottom, which I don't know. It's would give it about the same amount of firepower as a Zeus, which again, you're not really meant to get into combat with this thing, but you do have a little bit of weaponry to defend yourself or, take on smaller targets and whatnot. There is also the difference of missile count. So the triage only comes with, I believe, 8 missiles, it seems. And then the medevac has double that. So in the same area, the triage has its missile rack. There's just kind of an additional one right next to it on the medevac, so it does have double the missile count. And like I said earlier, the triage is the medevac is also supposed to have superior armor. Maybe once we have engineering online, we'll be able to see the effects of that more. Maybe when it comes out. For now, we'll see it is just having some additional like whole HP or something like that. So some pretty interesting changes there. It definitely looks like it's gotten a little bit with the size increase. It's gotten a little bit chunkier from some of the concept images. And I've seen some comparisons of the top window of the ship looking a lot smaller on this now than it did in the original concept. Again, that's probably just because of the size increase. So I would guess with this, they probably had to increase its size a little bit. They added an airlock, which we saw a few monthly reports ago. So there's that needed to be put in. I don't believe it had that previously. They might have had to expand the rooms for the medical beds a bit. Maybe they added some additional crew facilities or they had to add maybe some additional areas for components that just needed some more room and things like that. Maybe some additional cargo space. So we'll have to see for sure once we get it in game. But looks like if you are an Apollo owner, you've gotten a little bit bigger ship now. But it looks very, very nice, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what changes they make to medical gameplay to make this more worth using, or what other changes we'll see for other medical vehicles and how they might be useful compared to this and whatnot. So let me know any thoughts you have down in the comments on the ship. Do you like the look of it now? Do you think it got too chunky, or any ideas on changes for the layout or the rooms, additions of rooms or anything like that. If you have any thoughts on that, make sure to drop those down below. So that is going to be all of the major updates for this week's roadmap update. Again, some pretty cool stuff coming down the line. Looking forward to checking out the new science wing of the Onyx facilities in the next patch. The bearing laser cannon art rework looks pretty nice, so I'm excited to see that. And then the big thing is the medevac. The Apollo medevac and triage are coming in the next patch. Looks like they have had a little bit of a glow up, or at least they've increased in size a bit, seemingly to add some additional facilities in there, probably some additional weapons, other stuff like that. Again, I'd love to hear any thoughts you have on anything we talked about today down in the comments. If you have any thoughts on what the price of the Apollo might go to, I'd love to hear that as well. I'm sure if it's increased in price like this, it probably is going to see a decent price hike once it goes flight ready, but we'll have to see. So if you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave it a like, as it really helps the channel. And if you want to see more Star Citizen news videos and stuff like that, definitely subscribe as well. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and until next time, I will see you in the verse.